All right, Jason Taylor. Why did I say his government instead of the game? So when the news broke of the default judgment, well, not the default judgment, but the judge order that he may have to sell his home, his mansion, to satisfy a prior lawsuit that he lost due to a default judgment from the girl that was on his prior game show, the girl Priscilla Rainey. Right, that went around the internet. We covered it as well. But why not just look at the actual paperwork, right? Now, I want more context, or I wanted more context because I wanted to see or get more of a vibe. Is this a money grab? Is this some girl that was kicked off the show and maybe she wanted to be with Game, or he chose somebody else, or she thought she was going to be a star and he stopped that situation for her directly or indirectly? Were they in a past relationship? Is she like we hear these stories all the time. So I wanted to see the paperwork. But peep this. This one right here is up on Justia Law. Even though this looks like an appeal paperwork. United States Court of Appeals from the Seventh Circuit, Priscilla Rainey versus Jason Taylor. Okay. The argument. So when you see appeal, what happens? How do you get an appeal? That's after a decision was already made, right? So argued March 25th and decided October 17th, both 2019. So this appears that they went to court for this in 2019, lasted about, what's that, 5-6 months. And then the decision came to, and it's like, all right, game, got to pay up. But let's see how we got here. See how we got here. The background. Jason Taylor, aka The Game, is an internationally known Grammy-nominated rap artist. We know all of that. VH1, he got into the reality show She Got Game. We know that that's where they met and they was next to each other, okay? Priscilla Rainey, a realtor and entrepreneur from Florida, was a contestant on She Got Game. In May 2015, oh, so if the situation is happening in 2015, she didn't bring the case until 2019? Possible 4-year gap before the case was brought? Oh, all right. I like to pay attention to some of those type of details. All right. In May 2015, while the show was filming in Chicago, Rainey and Taylor went on an off-camera date in apparent violation of the competition rules. So if you were on the show with Game, you wasn't supposed to be hanging out with him outside the show or going out with him and dating or fucking or whatever. Okay. Taylor took Rainey to a suburban sports bar. And at one point during the evening, they were on an elevated stage in full view of club patrons. Okay. With the stage light shining on them, Taylor lifted Rainey's skirt and grabbed her bare buttocks and vag. Now, mind you, people, this show is happening at a time when the Game is a star. That's how he got a reality show at this point, right? So you got his platinum selling albums that have happened already, like the documentary. He's already gone through his run with G Unit, right? Yeah. So he's already a hip hop star at this time. So him being up on stage at a club full of patrons and club goers, I could see all eyes on him, whether he got paid to be there for a walkthrough or not. But Game at this point in his career, he walked up to the spot and it's all eyes on him. Okay. She tried to break away, but he did it again, this time lifting her rear end up and exposing her intimate parts to the gawking crowd. Now, I'm not saying, I don't know if they're trying to say she had underwear on here or not. I'm not saying that she had to. Okay. That's her business. As Rainey struggled to push him away and lower her skirt, he grabbed her bare buttocks and vag a third time. He also grabbed and juggled her breasts for the entertainment of the onlookers. Does this sound like something Game would do? I'll just throw that out there. 3 days later, Rainey confronted Taylor about the assault. The two were on the show's tour bus with other cast members, and film crew caught the entire exchange on camera. So the argument is there's evidence of it, and there's other people that heard this argument too. The video begins with another contestant announcing that Rainey had a secret date with Taylor that's cheating, and as we said, and returned to the hotel visibly upset. Rainey responded that she told the crew about it, but no one else. Taylor then reminded her that he had instructed her not to mention it to anybody, and don't mention it means don't mention it. A heated argument ensued. Rainey tried to tell him that she had a problem with what had happened, and was bothered by it. Taylor angrily commanded her to keep quiet. What you can do is be a woman and shut up. Like you can shut up right now. She did not shut up. Instead, she described the assault in graphic detail. All of this is on camera? Allegedly? Hmm. After an expletive laden exchange, Taylor ordered her to get off the bus before you get your ass strangled, and threatened to choke her ass up. So once again, there's possible allegedly witnesses that's on the tour bus hearing this, seeing this, and also possible footage capturing this, allegedly. In August 2015, just before the show's debut, Rainey sued Taylor. So why was that 2019? Oh, maybe the I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe the appeal is between those months above 2019. All right. But yeah, sued Taylor for sexual battery in a federal court in Chicago. Taylor repeatedly evaded service and otherwise tried to obstruct and delay the litigation. 5 process servers across 3 states made multiple attempts to serve him with a complaint and summons. See, right there, got to pay attention to that, because what Game talks about on Vlad, I saw that. What Whack 100 just talked about with academics, I saw that, is the dentist appointment that he had, and they gave him something that put, I don't know, gas or whatever, some type of medication, whatever that was in the system, where they said you're not supposed to fly, right? So let's say that's true. Even if it is true, what's here in the paperwork is that there was more attempts than just that. Of course, I would expect Game and Whack 100 to only mention the dentist situation, allegedly. But here in the paperwork, 5 process servers across 3 states made multiple attempts to serve him with the complaint and summons. One process server alone made 41 unsuccessful attempts to serve Taylor at his California home. The district judge authorized alternative service. In meantime, the suit was widely reported in the press and generated lots of chatter on social media. So I will say this, to be fair. Can you miss a summons or a subpoena? Let's talk about the different forms of it. Some of y'all that may have seen, I had a blog addressing Sirius Jones. Shout out to Sirius Jones. When we got into it over the disagreements of him battling on RBE for Max Out 1. If y'all remember that blog, right? And once again, shout out to Sirius. Me and him is cool now. I gave a story in that blog talking about Heavy Half, the battle rapper from Chicago. He had a situation that he got into in New York when he came to the venue. When he came to the card after our event in another establishment, like at a club or something like that. There was an incident that took place. He got charged and he had to go back and forth from Chicago to New York and fight his case, right? The detectives in that case, in Heavy Half's case, called the Source magazine because there was a editor at the Source magazine that was at our event covering the event. So when the Source publicized the RBE event and they saw the name of the person from the Source that wrote the article, the authorities got in touch with her. They called the Source looking for her because all they wanted to do was try to question her about the event and question her about possibly Heavy Half. She got on the phone. And because she got on the phone, she ended up getting subpoenaed and she had to go to court. Now, what I said in the Sirius Jones blog, I said, I don't know if somebody ever reached out to me, right? I have no clue. I would assume if you wanted to reach out to the editor, you might reach out to the person that booked Heavy Half to come into New York for the performance. Maybe they did try. I don't answer phone calls from numbers that I don't have saved in my phone. So if you called me and I don't got your number saved, I'm only picking up if you got your name listed as a call ID and I recognize your name. That's what happened when I said Clone called me last week or 2 weeks ago. I recognized his name on a call ID. I don't pick up, got scam artists and trolls or whoever. I just don't. That's just me. I'm not breaking any laws by not answering phone calls that are numbers that's not saved in my phone. I'm not breaking any laws from that. But let's say that could be maybe they wanted to subpoena me, but I didn't break any laws and I didn't get subpoenaed, right? So it could happen like that. You got cases or situations where you subpoena or you send the subpoena to an address that the person doesn't frequent. Maybe they have multiple houses. Maybe it's not their main property. Maybe it's a property that they used to live at. Um, maybe they weren't home the times that you came. They said 42 times at the California residence. That's a lot, but that's another thing I do. I don't answer doors for people that I don't know. You don't even see me if you drop off my Grubhub or DoorDash or nothing. Nah, I'm one of the motherfuckers. I'm looking through the window, DoorDash dash nigga pulled off. All right, let me grab my food. You know what I'm saying? Somebody ring my bell and I don't know who it is. I mean, nobody. I don't. It doesn't happen frequently, but somebody ring my bell and I don't know who it is. Nah, I gotta look out that window and see that you got the UPS vest on. You got a package, and even that could be a lineup, right? No, I'm expecting a package. All right, let me open the door and sign for this shit. Think about it. There's a lot of ways you could miss a subpoena without purposefully ducking. That's the whole point that I'm making there. But this doesn't read good. 42 and different. It doesn't read good, man. I'm just trying to build with y'all just to try to be fair. Taylor did not answer or otherwise plead. So on February 1st, 2016, the judge entered a default under Rule 55A of Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. 10 days later, Florida attorney Andrew Williams appeared for Taylor and moved to quash service and set aside the default. The judge denied the motion to quash, but set aside the default and scheduled trial for November 14th, 2016. People, are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? I didn't read this before. I just pulled it up, made sure it's the accurate thing, and then I said, all right, we'll break it down on the stream. Did I just read that? He had a default judgment that was decided by the judge. All right, you owe this girl because you missed all these attempts. Your lawyer shows up and gets you another opportunity. Says, all right, you was in default. You had a judgment against you already. This girl already won. But here goes your lawyer. You want to know what? Cool. I'm going to give you another chance. So they removed the default and gave him another chance. Now, even if I am ducking this case, even if I see that it went into default judgment, it's like, yo, you just lost $5 million or $2 million because you wasn't showing up. If I didn't think it was serious then, I got to think that it's serious now. And then I send my lawyer and I get another opportunity. The judge says, all right, let me take it out of default. Let's try this again. And I still don't show up. Oh, hell no. Allegedly. The judge denied the motion to quash, but set aside the default judgment and scheduled trial for November 14th, 2016, months later. A magistrate judge set a settlement conference for June 16th and ordered Rainey and Taylor to appear in person. On June 2nd, Taylor moved to reschedule the settlement conference, feigning, whatever that is, a concern for his safety based on Chicago's gun violence problem. You see, this is what I mean when I say whack and game ain't going to say this stuff. So when you guys had the settlement conference set up in June, why didn't you show up to that? You knew about that one now because you sent your judge and they got the default second chance. And now you're saying, oh no, because of the gun violence in Chicago, I ain't trying to show up. Yeah, they ain't going to say this publicly, huh? And allegedly, I still say, even though we're reading this shit on Just Deal Law, and shout out to the game. I fuck with game. But the black and white is the black and white. Say this on Vlad. To be real, Chicago's gun violence problem. This past Memorial Day weekend, sadly, almost 70 people were shot in the city of Chicago due to a high volume of violence and likelihood of the reprisals due to such violence. The defendant has grave concerns for his safety and for those who assist him during his travels due to his celebrity status. Now, to be fair, as I try to do so often, maybe this wasn't Game's position. Maybe this was his lawyer trying to run a play for him. Is this his lawyer trying to get a different date? Is this game trying to avoid it? Is this his lawyer trying to get him more time to figure it? Like, all right, but in the paperwork, you guys used the Chicago stats that particular date. Okay. The magistrate judge canceled the settlement conference for other reasons. It was never rescheduled. Taylor's what is that? Dilatory, whatever conduct didn't stop there. In July, he moved to transfer the case to either the Central District of California or the Southern District of Florida. The judge denied the motion. I never heard of that before. Like, I have a case in New York. Let me try to ask the judge to move it to where I live in Cali. That's some that's some arrogant shit. All right. The judge denied the motion as well. In October, he again moved for continuance, was the judge likewise denied. Meanwhile, Taylor railed against a lawsuit on social media, insulting Rainey in exceedingly vulgar terms. We did pull that up the other day. We pulled up one of his posts. Allegedly, it said Los Angeles Confidential. That's his Instagram name, right? But I'll still say allegedly. And he put up mug shots of her and calling her mudslide face and all this type of stuff, dissing her and whatnot. So during this time, you was being what a lot of people interpret as the game, because we see Game's personality at times. I mean, shout out to him, but jury selection commenced as scheduled on Monday, November 14th. Taylor didn't show up to that either. Williams, his attorney, assured the court that his client would be present the next day. Okay, now we'll be there tomorrow. When trial resumed on Tuesday, Taylor was again absent, it says. What the fuck is going on? This is crazy at this point. Williams asked for continuance, saying that he had learned on Monday night that Taylor had an emergency dental procedure that day. So we did Chicago, we did dental, we did dentist, we did 42 times at your crib, we did across states, 4 different service, all it is. We got a lot going on. The judge made the call and then Dondas, whatever that is, explained that Taylor had basically more or less a root canal procedure, 2 of them on Monday. Okay, could be true. It was not clear from either the note or the call whether the dental problem was a long-standing one or sudden onset. Let's say the dentist explained that he was not Taylor's regular dentist and did not know his history. Rather, Taylor had called his emergency line at about 6 p.m. on Sunday evening. It's just too convenient there. You try to say you never worked with this guy before? Like, now you got this paperwork there that looks like one of the homies put in a call for you. Like, yeah, I'm his dentist. Allegedly. You know what I'm saying? Like, the convenient Sunday emergency call to your dentist for the root canal. The convenience of the timing is crazy, B. There's so much going on here. I didn't know about none of that. I promise you, I'm just seeing this for the first time live with y'all. Rainey's counsel responded by submitting several screenshots from Taylor's Snapchat account. Uh-oh. The photos depicted Taylor smoking something in a dark room under pink neon lights at 2:44 a.m. on Monday, November 14th. That's what I did with Jag. Jag said his car flipped over a million times and he had just got out of anesthesia and surgery. He had a bone that went through his hip and all this type of stuff. And maybe his brother, a family member, also is in the hospital. And then I went to his stories and I said, you just posted a video. And Jag gets on the phone with me and says, oh, no, that's my team that's posting. It's the same shit happened. What's up with you LA niggas? Nah, I say that with all due respect to all my LA niggas, but that's what this looks like. I've been there before. I've been here before. Literally. That's a real story. I'm telling you. I've been here before. 2:44 a.m. you post this though. All right. On Monday, November 14th, as the judge described the images, it looked as out partying in the middle of the night, just a few hours after he placed a call to an emergency dental hotline. And a few hours before he was due in court in Chicago, the judge denied the continuance motion, stating that Taylor's actions were indicative of somebody who had no intention of appearing at trial. It's not just no intention of appearing. It's flat out being interpreted as fuck you and your legal process and you as a plaintiff. Like, not even just her, like the courts are probably looking at this like, how many times you gonna spit in my face too? Nigga, you already had a judgment against you that we put to the side and said, all right, let's try again. You try to move it to different states, try to put it in Florida, you try to put it in Cali. You missed this day. It's supposed to be Monday. You don't show up for that. All right, now your lawyers guarantee me you're going to be here Tuesday. Then this dentist situation pops up, this emergency call. I go to your store and I see you out partying. It looks like you're telling all y'all like you just fucking over. That's what it looks like. That's what this is just lawjustia.com, people. That is an official site, people. I'm saying even from TMZ, and TMZ tries to be accurate, but this is law.justia.com, people, that this paperwork is on. I mean, damn, it's still going. I don't even want to read the rest. Like, for what? It's still going. In light of Taylor's absence, the judge gave the following jury instruction. Defendant Jason Terrell Taylor was, and I just skipped over a bunch. God knows what other shit is coming up, but was mentioned at trial, but did not satisfy it in person. You may, but are not required to assume that Mr. Taylor's testimony would have been unfavorable to Mr. Taylor. The jury returned a verdict for Rainey, awarding $1.13 million in compensatory damages and $6 million in punitive damages. Taylor moved for a new trial on several grounds. He again attacked the denial of the continuance and the related missing witness instruction. He also argued that the jury's verdict was against the weight of the evidence. Alternatively, he sought a remitter, whatever that is, of damages. The judge denied the motion and entered judgment on the jury's verdict. This still, look at this refusal to reschedule the trial. It's a lot here. Missing witness instruction, video of the tour bus confrontation. So the court had the video during did they show it? Over Taylor's objection, the judge admitted the video of the tour bus confrontation between Rainey and Taylor. Taylor renews his objection on appeal, arguing that the video was unfairly prejudicial under Rule 403. So they did play the video. Yo, this shit is still going. Have we not given enough context here? Weight of evidence. The paperwork got a lot more there. I'm gonna let it ride. What are we doing with this? You know what I'm saying? Like, the actual paperwork paints a crazy picture on game. A crazy picture, B, of arrogance, irresponsibility, not caring. The way the allegations read, like, I'm not convicting him of that. I don't know. I wasn't there. I wasn't in the club when him and Shorty was up on stage and supposedly he was groping, did all of that. I wasn't there, and I wasn't on the tour bus. I didn't hear the argument. I wasn't there when Games allegedly said, fuck you, shut up, or get your ass choked, or get the fuck off of this bus, or whatever. I'll say this. Is it possible that in the club she was okay with what happened? Not necessarily inviting it, but not having this type of issue with it. That's possible. You're hanging out when you guys aren't even supposed to, as per the show's rules. Y'all at some nightclub together. He starts groping you and touching you. I don't know if y'all had any energy prior. I don't know if y'all fucked prior already. I don't know that. We don't know that. We don't know the nature of their energy and situation. Still doesn't justify publicly pulling up some, even if it's your girl. I ain't pulling up my girl's skirt in front of a crowd. You know what I'm saying? But it is also possible that she left there and didn't have a $7 million problem. You never know if they were the other girls. The paperwork kind of makes it read like other people that was on the show started complaining that she was out on dates, breaking the show's rules with Game. So if I'm somebody else on the show, I got an issue with that because I'm like, she's able to hang out with Game, you know what I'm saying, outside the show. That's giving her an advantage that we don't have. So the other girls probably want her off the show. So if she got kicked off the show for that, then she could be mad about that. And like, I kind of got kicked off the show because we had an argument in front of everybody about us hanging out. And the reason why we were hanging out and it became an argument is because you groped me up. Allegedly, right? Now, do I have a $7 million problem because you groped me up? No, not at that time. Possibly. Or maybe I do. We don't know the argument. They got the video. Is the video her approaching him and saying, fuck all this show shit, whatever. Don't you ever do what you did last night. Don't you ever touch me like that. We don't know. Or is it like, yo, nigga, like we got this argument or whatever the case may be. And it's like, yo, just shut up. Don't tell nobody that we was hanging out because that breaks the show's rules. And then the other girls having the argument of the unfair advantage that she would have is what got her kicked off. Then she got an issue. You don't know. So I'm not going to try to act like guilty, not guilty. But what I will act like is guilty, not guilty. The way that you handled them courts and all them court dates and all that back and forth, that's wild.